Hey everyone, and welcome to my video. Apologies, I've gone a little bit early today, so hopefully everyone can catch up in replay. Gone a bit early today. I need to get out into my garden as soon as possible because the parrots have discovered my apricot tree, and if I don't get out there soon, I'm not going to get anything to show for a year of growing apricots. Anyway, so once they get on there, they strip them and then just waste them. Anyway, as anyone who grows fruit trees near birds would know. Anyway, okay, so today I'm going to feature an old favourite, which to be honest I've only just rediscovered, the Climbing Orchid Stamp Set and Orchid, not Orchard, I've got fruit trees on the brain now, Climbing Orchid Stamp Set and Orchid Builder Framelits, so the Orchid bundle. Today I'm going to be making this quite cute shadow box card, sort of like a little box there, which is quite nice. I also did make a simpler version here, which is just a single fold card, which is cute as well and not quite as complex, so that's just for an example of what you can do. I'm not going to make that one, I'm going to make this one. Anyway, so just bear with me for a minute while I get my iPad to catch up. Here we go. See if anyone's on. Oh, hi Margie. Thanks for tuning in so early. Apologies, as I said, I'm a little bit early. I'm going to rescue my apricot trees before the birds get into them too much. Anyway, so here we go. I'm just going to share this. Just bear with me for a minute. Where am I sharing it? Anyway, I'll do that later. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to do this one here, which is this, as I said, this really nice shadow card. It actually uses a couple of bundles. The orchids obviously are from the Orchid Builder, and the stem you see behind is from the Seasonal Layers Thinlet dies, so that's in there as well. So, but the Orchid Builder does come with a stamp of the branches here, so you could actually stamp those directly onto the card and not necessarily use the branch from the Seasonal Layers. Okay, so let's get started. It's not as complicated as it looks, you'll be pleased to know, and I have cut everything out beforehand, but I'll put the measurements on my blog straight after this video. So Margie's on, I can see. Oh, hi Mari, thanks for joining in. I was just saying I'm a little bit early because I've just realised that the parrots are in my apricot trees and I have to go and save them before they absolutely decimate them. They can get in there and half an hour later you've got nothing left to show for it. And I think that would break my heart. So I don't mind sharing, but I need to get my share. Okay, so we're making, as I say, making this shadow box card here using the Orchid Builder. I've got the pieces cut here. So what you need to start with is you need probably two A4 pieces of Whisper White cardstock, and you cut one of them to be and I don't know if you can see this in the light, it's a 9" by 5 3/4 inch, and I've scored that at the 4" mark, 4.5 inch, and just 1/2 inch before the end, so that's at 8.5 inches. So just those scores there. Don't know if you can see those, but anyway, I'll put, as I say, I'll put the measurements in my blog straight after the video. You need another piece that is 5 inches by 5 3/4 inches, and this one you score 1/2 inch from either end. So if you can imagine, I'll just show you how this fits together. That's your cover, so to speak, and this one fits in there to form the 3D effect. You also need another one which is smaller, which is 3 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches. Hi Chrissy, thanks for tuning in. And this is the one that you actually will put all the fancy schmancy stuff on in the inside. So that one there will go through an embossing folder shortly. Okay, so one thing I need to cut is, and I thought I'd just show you how I do this. This one here obviously has to have a little window cut into it. So if you have a rectangular die that is big enough, you can just position that and go for it. I don't. So what I do is I've got this square one from the Layered Squares set, and I'm just going to pop that through twice through the big shot so that it forms a window that's the right size. So bear with me, I'll just bring the big shot over and hopefully not destroy everything. Oh, hi Joyce, thanks for joining me. There we go. See if that's in properly. Okay, so you pop your piece of paper, your piece of cardstock in there like that. Just bring that up a little bit. Just there like that, and you position, I'm going to have to stand for this so I'm over the top. You position it so that it is in the right position for the top half. So you want sort of the same distance all around the three sides and as straight as you possibly can. Now this is help. I'm going to get a magnetic base, I really am. I promise myself, guys, if I don't get the magnetic base in the next order, you can all, I don't know, tease me or something. Anyway, so pop that through the first time. Oh, excuse the wobbling. And you'll get half your hole cut out. So get rid of that, or you might use that, so get rid of that. And then just move it down. Try and keep it in the same. You'll feel the edge, the ridge of where it was. And just line that up so it's you've got the same. I'll come back the other way. Help if you could see. Come back the other way, so line that up there, so you can see, you feel the ridge there, and you've got the right distance at the bottom, and then just pop it through again. To be honest, it would be easier just to use a rectangle of the right size, or just cut it out with your trimmer. That would work as well if you could measure the right distance all the way around. Here we go, so there, that's taken out another chunk, and we're left with our window. Okay, so that's our window that you'll be able to see our beautiful orchids through. With a bit of gunge. Okay, so that's all I need the big shot for that. Okay, so make sure I haven't moved my mat at all. So there we've got our window. A little bit of gunge on there. Oh, that's alright, that's the bottom side. Cool. So there it is. There. Right, so now we can do the fun bit. So basically, I'll show you how to fold our box. We've got the 4-inch one. Just fold that up and score. And then there's another 1/2-inch one, so you fold that, and that forms like a little spine of a book, or, you know, a box. And then we've got this 1/2-inch one on the other side. You can fold that up as well. So as you see there, you've got a perfect little space for our frame to fit in there. That's not too hard to imagine where we're headed with that. Anyway, so I'll put those aside and we can do this fun bit. So this is the slightly smaller panel of Whisper White that we're going to be putting all our beautiful orchids on. So I have two choices for the, oh hi Kay, thanks for joining me. I have two choices for the embossing folder. You could leave it plain, of course, but I quite like the embossed look. We've got the basket weave one, which is actually the one I've used with this little card here, which is quite sweet. Sort of gives the impression of a sort of a basket look, or the petal burst one, which is this pretty one with the petals, and that's the one I've actually done on this original card. Don't know if you can see it there, but I thought just for something a bit different I would actually put this one through the basket weave one. It's a little bit more obvious, if you know what I mean, a little bit more distinct look. So I just pop my piece of white cardstock there. Now with this basket weave one, as you guys, if you have it, you will know it's a really thick embossing folder. So you actually take your big shot down to, well, in mine you have to anyway, take the big shot right down. You take all the platforms out and only use one mat. If I use two mats I can't get it through. And you pop that one, and I just pop that with the closed side in first, just through like that. Get rid of that again. And that is just really sweet. Oh, come on. There we go. We've got a nice basket weave on our paper, which is lovely. Get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, so now we can start decorating the fun bit. So we'll just pop that aside for the moment. Obviously when cutting all these pieces of paper with boxes and panels and things all out of them, you've got a fair bit of Whisper White left over, and you can use that to do your stamping. So for this one, I've used, I'll show you the stamp set first. The stamp set comes with various sizes of orchid and various sort of species as well. We've got parts of orchid, so you've got, this is a sort of horizontal petal and this is the triangle petal. If you cut them, stamp them and cut them separately, you put them together and you get more of a 3D orchid. We've got like a plainer one that's just lines of colour, and then you've got this one which is the orchid all together, already sort of assembled, and that's the one I've used for this card. I made this card for a dear friend who was retiring from work and went whole hog and just sort of assembled all the orchids for her, and it was beautiful, but it did take a lot of fiddling. So this time I'll just go with this sort of already prepared orchid, which I've stamped. So I've got the stamps out that I need. So we've got, as I say, for this one we've got 5 small orchids and 1 large orchid, so I'll stamp those. So the yellow I'm using is So Saffron, which is quite pretty and not too bright. And so, and I'll just show you how this one stamps. I need 5 small, 1, 2, 3, don't put them too close together, the edge is quite large, 4, 5, and 1 of the larger orchid, that's this one. I'll pop that down this end, all on one piece of paper. There we go. So we've got 5 small and a large, but I also need, and you'll see here on the inside, you can just see there's a little bud, which I thought was nice because it's like it's not open yet. So there's a little bud in the set, and I'll just stamp that. I'll actually stamp 2 because I think I'll put 1 on the outside and 1 on the inside. 1 and 2. Okay, so that's all I need, I think, out of on the white cardstock. Just remembering as I go along. So that's the stamping there. Also on a scrap piece of So Saffron. Yeah, you're also using the So Saffron ink. You've got to stamp. See if I've got it out here. This is from the stamp set. It's like the little internal. What do you call it? My husband would know, he's a botanist. Anyway, the inside, the little organs of the orchid, where all the action happens come breeding season, I can imagine. And you need 5 of the small ones. So this is just So Saffron ink on So Saffron paper. Just 5 of those. And then there's a big one as well, which I'll get in a second. Now the inside, just for a nice little bit of detail, the set also gives, where is it, a little bit of detail for the stamen. That's what word I was after. High school biology coming back to me. The stamen and the, oh, can't remember. Anyway, the sex organs of the, it's just a little sort of series of dots. And so what I thought I might do is in Mossy Meadow, which I'm going to be using for the leaves, I'll just do a little bit of that detail. So on each of the, oh, came off. It's funny, must have been damp. I'm lost. What's my orientation there? And oh, come here, you. Should wipe that on my pants. It doesn't want to stick. Stick. And 3. That's better. 4, 5. So that's 5 little things for the inside of my little orchids. As I said, there's the big one as well. I haven't got out. I thought I had it out. Here's the big one. I'll do this one in... Hi Wendy, thanks for joining me. I am a little bit early. So I've got garden traumas happening outside. So I need to get onto those as soon as I can. I don't know if anyone else lives in a climate where you can have apricot trees. I love them. I love fresh apricots, although they do give you a tummy ache when you eat as many as I do. But I need to rescue them from the birds before I have nothing left, which would be heartbreaking. And so there's the detail on the big one. So how's everyone? Did we have some heat? Have we all recovered from the heat? It's a bit cooler here today. It's still a lovely day. A little bit windy, but yeah, it's really nice. Love summer. Love summer in Hobart anyway. It doesn't get too hot. Okay, so that's our little stamens for our orchids. Also on a scrap of Mossy Meadow, I'm going to do some leaves. So here's my Mossy Meadow. The orchid, the small orchid, has a small leaf, and the big orchid obviously has a big leaf, but I'm just going to do 3 small ones. So there's my little leaf there, and Mossy Meadow ink. So Mossy Meadow ink on Mossy Meadow paper, so 3 little leaves. 1, 2, 3. So you can see that. They're also going to cut out the branches from the layered seasons from this Mossy Meadow as well. You can see there are some I did earlier. So that's the stamping for this one. The flowers anyway, there's sentiments and things, but we'll look at those later. So there's our 6 orchids, big and little, some buds, some leaves, and some middle bits. That's what I'll call them, middle bits. Okay, so now I would run that through the Big Shot with the dies. Here are the dies here, so the orchid builder, and you get all the dies that correspond to what you've just stamped. Big orchids, orchid bits, small orchids, stamens and leaves, the whole bit there. But you'll be pleased, today's the 39th, yeah, they are cruel muggy, I'm sure they are. Yes, oh, it's better today. Oh, that's good. It can't go on for too long. I think it's just too hard. And you need some rain and stuff. I've put the sprinkler on my garden this morning already, so nice and early. Okay, so I would run those through the Big Shot, but you'll be pleased to know I've done those already. So you don't have to sit and watch me wobble around while I do that. So here I have all my bits and bobs. 30 today, Wendy. Yeah, it's not too bad. I can handle a 30. Although my dogs do suffer when it gets above mid-20s. Especially my girl who's recovering from her operation. Because she has several places through the yard that she usually goes to cool down. And because she's confined, she can't go to them. So she's she looks at me and pants horribly. But I've got a fan that I put on her. So she's hopefully not too bad. I don't know how, I think it scares her a bit, but at least I'm trying to do something. Okay, so as I said, we've got our 5 little orchids, our big orchid, and our various bits and bobs, inside bits and outside bits and leaves and and everything there. So let's start assembling. So obviously each orchid needs a little middle bit. So they've already got it on there. I don't know if you can see that. So the stamp has already got the detail on it. But I just think it's nice if you can highlight it a little bit. You know, with so many orchids, they have that really bright focal point in the middle, obviously to attract the bees or the insects or whatever they need. Yeah, Wendy, she is recovering. I started her on. She had to do. Thanks for that. Thanks for keeping in touch with that. I had to start her on doggy rehab exercises, which was quite. I think it was more traumatic for me than for her. But I had to set her up we had to set her up a set of sort of doggy hurdles in the backyard, and it was quite traumatic for both of us. She didn't really want to do it. She had to bend a leg, which she hasn't been doing. She's been straight-legged. But she pulled up really sore, and so I remember the vet saying that if she pulled up really sore, give it a bit of a rest. So we haven't gone back to that again. But, you know, as I said to somebody at work, she's an 11-year-old dog. What am I rehabbing her for? She's not going to go and do, she's not going to be doing doggy Olympics or anything. She's, you know, she's just, she sits and she eats and she walks on the beach, and that's about what she does now. So she's, you know, if she was, you know, 10 years younger, it might be a different matter. Anyway, that's my philosophy, and basically because I'm chicken and I don't like to hurt my dog. Anyway, so I'm just gluing the middle bits into our various orchids here, just while I talk about my dog. She is my love. Just with a little touch of glue and making sure you get the middle bits at the right way up. And I think they look really effective, those orchids. As I say, I had a lovely friend from work who retired, and I made her this card. But I went all out and made all the orchids from scratch, so to speak. And while it was beautiful, it was, you know, it was just that little bit of extra effort that, you know, probably only I would notice that I'd done it. So yeah, it is hard to do, Wendy. Yeah, I will do it. I promised myself I will do it as soon as she recovers from the lameness that she had the first time. I've got to be. The trouble is, it's funny if it was one of the kids, I'd be forcing them to do it. You know, it's just so weird because she's my old girl. I'm a bit softer with her. Anyway, so we've got back our piece of white cardstock that's been embossed with our basket. So I've got that here, and we can start constructing the inside of our card. So here I've got the branch from the layered seasons stamp set, and I'm just going to put that from the bottom to the top, sort of diagonally there. I'm going to move it up or down slightly. Yeah, down slightly from where I've done it on this one. I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you look straight onto that card, you can actually see a bit of the bottom of the stem, and I actually wanted it to look like it was starting way down there, and bring it down a bit so you get more of a bit of detail from the top. So I'm going to bring that down, right down to the bottom there. Okay, so we'll glue that on just with a bit of glue. Oh, lost it. Here we go. Get rid of some of these things. Some of this glue, and don't go too mad with your glue, as I learn every day. Just especially the fine stuff like this, just dots all the way along. It's such great glue, it'll stick with dots. You don't need too much. I don't know about you guys, but I seem to put glue in every order I run out of glue. Okay, so we've got that one. I'm going to start that right down in the corner and take it diagonally along. Just pat it down with a wet wipe, just to get it to dry wipe actually, just to make it stick. There we go. It is the best glue. It is. If nothing else from Stampin' Up, you've got to get the glue. Okay, so there's the basis of our decoration. So what I'll do is on this one I've got 3 small orchids. I did try it, and I'll show you my thought process with the large one. It just seemed too much. It seemed, too bulky for this smaller section, so I decided to go with the 3 small ones here. So I'll just put those around. I thought these ones I would actually mount them on. The previous one I actually just glued them on, but I thought with these, for a bit of a 3D effect, since they've got all that room in that box, that I would mount them on dimensionals instead this time, just for a bit more of a 3D effect. Okay, so we've got our first one here. I'm just going to put 1 dimensional each. I think we go through so many, I do go through so many dimensionals. First one just down here, just with a bit of stem poking out behind it. There's that one there. And so I think that's really good. I like that sort of bit more oomph to it. Another one on the back. You could put more dimensionals, of course, but I'm a bit of a stinge. That one there, just so it looks like it's poking, poking from the bottom of that leaf, that stem I mean there. And then this last one, put a dimensional on the back. Yeah, the small ones are better, I think. I've got one of the big ones for the front because it's a bit bigger surface, but I like the smaller ones. And I'll pop him there. I'll put him there. No, I think I'll stick to what I did before. I'll pop him there. And then I've got our tiny little bud here. There we go. So I'll just pop a little bit of glue on the back of him. He's a bit big for a dimensional, so just a tiny little bit of glue on the back of him. And sneak him up. So what I did was just lift that little bit of stem there, so that the very, you'll see that, probably a bit fine, take my word for it, lift the tiny little bit of, so that the bud just sort of slips under it, so it looks like it's actually you know, got some leaves sort of forming over the top. Probably detail only we would pick, but you know, it's important. Actually, I'm going to have to change that. That looks different. Oh no, it's the same. I might just bear with me. Don't breathe. I'm going to move this one slightly over if I can. No, I'm going to leave it. I'm thinking that one might slightly to the left a bit might be a good thing. But anyway, there we go. So that's that one. So there's there. So just make it a little bit more special. I'll pop some leaves on. Oh, I've got a weird fly in my craft room. Go away, fly. Just pop some leaves on. So behind each of the 3 flowers we'll have a leaf pop out. So one there. And one there. And the last one there. And while I've got you on, Wendy, I'll congratulate you in person with your making silver. That's awesome. Well done. Can't wait to see when you get your necklace. I wear mine. I haven't got it on today, but I wear it most days, the Stampin' Up one. It's just really proud, I suppose, and I suppose you're feeling the same. So congratulations. There we go. So that's the inside of that one. I think that's quite sweet. So what we'll do now is, I won't actually attach that straight away, and I'll leave all these out. I will actually now decorate the front of the card, just so I can press on it without sort of ruining anything underneath. So this one, remember, is the larger piece of card that's scored in 3 places there. So that surface there will be the front, and so it's much the same process. I won't emboss it, of course. I'll just add the, now, so what I did first of all, since I was bringing in 2 stamp sets anyway, I thought I would put some of these pretty flowers here from this Colourful Seasons stamp set around the place, if I can find it here. So using the So Saffron again, I've got that one. It's just that little one there. I'll clear off all this stamp stuff here. Pop that on there. Okay, so there. And using the So Saffron again, I have, just making sure I don't miss any comments. I have my flowers there. I stamp it off once because I want it really, really subtle, and just pop the flowers around the edges of the card, here and here. And then another one, I'm just checking what I did last time, another one sort of in the center there, and there. Okay, so that's quite nice. It sort of gives a bit of a floral background to that. You could layer it with cardstock, you could put DSP, you could put fancy paper behind there. But I just think that's quite sweet. I sort of didn't want to overdo the middle of this, the outside of this card, because I sort of wanted the inside to be the star of the show. But, you know, by the same token, you can't have it too plain. So basically the same process here of just arranging our flowers. So we've got our branch, our other branch in Mossy Meadow. Oh. And just dots of glue there on these branches. They're really, really skinny. There we go. Pop that one so it starts from the edge of the card and works its way up. Just press that down lightly. Okay, so we've got our big one. I probably won't put these on dimensionals because it's the outside of the card, so it's all right for them to sit flat. Yeah, it's we'll call it the forgotten yellow, shall we, Wendy? It is often overlooked. I don't think of it often, but it just seemed the natural choice for this one. To be honest, I only just in the last order ordered the cardstock, so I didn't even have the cardstock until, you know, a couple of weeks ago, which is, you know, weird because I've got just about everything else, as I'm sure most of us do. Okay, so that's the big one on there. It's quite sweet. Then we'll do a couple of the little ones. I've got one on this branch here. There we go. And another one up here, right at the top there. And one little bud, which is, I didn't do it on the original card, but I think it's probably just adds something extra, just with a little bit of glue, and I'll pop him on there. Too much glue. Story of my life. Anyway, there. So that's the front of the card. On this one I've got a little thinking of you there, so there's plenty of room for a nice little sentiment there, or up here if you're that way inclined. I might think about that later. I'm actually going to put these are, I don't know if everyone knows, but I've got an online store where I sell cards, which was my original passion. So I actually put a lot of these, make a lot of these lovely ones for selling online, with the relevant copyrights on the images, as of course, because I don't want it to get into trouble. Okay, so that's that one. So we've got our bits to assemble now. So this one here goes on the back panel of our card here. So I'm just going to get it central. Actually move it up a little bit so I can get some of the, just bear with me, I'm going to see where it needs to probably go low on it so that I actually see the detail through the window. So I'll just put that on. Now there's an argument that double-sided tape would be better to put this one down since it's embossed, but I can't find my double-sided tape. I feel a bit lost, so I'll just use glue anyway. Oh, upside down. I nearly put it upside down. So you could actually trim a little bit off the bottom there if you find that you've moved everything up a little bit too high, but I think that will be okay there. Just like that. So that's straight onto the back of the card. Now this one, got to work out which is the best way to do it. It's got a little bit of gunk there. Might do it the other way. This one is your window. So we're going to be fitting that over those flaps there. What you need to do is the edge that goes here in the center of the card, you have to trim a tiny, less than 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch off that, just so that the card will close properly, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So this is the edge that's going, there. So I'm just going to trim tiny wafer thin piece off it, just so the card will close properly. It's not even enough to register in the instructions, and to be honest it probably wouldn't matter too much if you didn't do it, but it just helps the whole thing close a little bit easier. Okay, so again we're going to use some glue. Now we'll actually use glue here because I want to test fold the card before the glue sets hard, just so that I've got all the angles and everything right. So that one there, can you see that fold, the window flap folds over the base flap, and just put those two together. Just wipe my hands a little bit. Just put those two there. And then this one here, which is the one we've trimmed, just put a little bit of glue on the stem of the card, and then they go together as well. It is a little bit fiddly and I can't think of an easier way to do it, but you'll get it. Give it a go. So make sure that it just all folds flat like that. All the angles are right and everything there. Of course it will then snap open if you haven't glued yourself to yourself. It will snap open in a nice little box like that. Okay, so there's our box card, our shadow box card. How pretty is that? Of course, when you look at it, you realise that the orchids should have gone a bit to the left or a bit to the right or a bit up or a bit down, but probably testing it before you glue it down would have been a good idea. Anyway, so that's that done. So with my other one, as I say, I've got the sentiment on the front, and I also put a little circle, that's a little stitched circle with another sentiment inside as well. So that sort of can sit on the outside of the frame. So I'll leave all that to your imagination. You guys can complete that when you've made one of the cards. They are a tricky card to post, as you can imagine. There's not many envelopes that are that shape. So with my other one, this first one that I've made, I did actually make it a little box. Now look, there's YouTube videos around the place for boxes, the dime a dozen. So basically it's just a piece, and it's the same as the box I did in my recent video where I did a exploding box card. So basically you just size your box so that the card fits snugly in the base, so it's like 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around, and then 1/8 of an inch bigger again you make your lid. And so that sort of makes it a little bit easier to post and to put a little bit of ribbon around it, and makes it that little bit special. That fits in it quite nicely. So there, that's finished. It didn't take as long. How long did that take? 25 minutes. It helps that I'd cut it all out. So there we go, that's a shadow box card. I think that would be lovely with just about anything inside there. Any of the beautiful, even the seasonal, the colourful seasons comes with the branch and the beautiful blossoms. That would be cute inside. What else would be cute inside? Look, just about anything. So many things from the Celebration would be cute in there as well. So there, that's my shadow box card there. As I say, I'll put all the measurements and scoring and assembly details in my blog later on. Thanks, Janice. Yeah, it is a lovely card. I like that one, and I think the friend that I gave it to really thought it was special too. You know, when you retire, so many people do so much for you, but I felt that it was nice that I'd done something handmade for her, and I think she really appreciated it. Okay, so that's the end of the crafting. We have the obligatory sales pitch at the end. I was going to put it at the beginning, but I thought, you know, what the hell. We'll put it at the end so everyone can phase out if they don't want. As everyone knows, we've got Celebration happening at the moment and the Occasions catalogue. The great thing about Celebrations is that it's a great time to shop, host and join. And the emphasis I wanted to put on it today, if you just bear with me, is the join. To be honest, I joined, and I don't know about you guys if anyone else joined. I joined Celebration time last year, because it was just the bargains were just what's the word? I couldn't resist them. Irresistible. As I say, I have an online store, so I like to have new things in the store to keep it fresh and keep it fresh and new for the customers that shop online with my cards. So when I joined, it was just going to be for the specials, and that was it. So, and look where I am 12 months later doing videos and got a little team together and you know, holding classes. So it doesn't have to be that way. If you just want to buy for yourself, maybe for your family and friends, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to approach strangers or do anything that you're uncomfortable with. But during Celebration, it is an amazing time to join. Normally you get $235 worth of free product for $169 when you join. During Celebration, that's up to $315 worth of product when you join. Hey Donna, thanks for joining me. Donna, would you like to join my team? I'm doing the sales pitch right now. Anyway, so during Celebration, that's increased by $80. So you actually get $315 worth of free product, for $169 when you join. Plus you get all the things you need to set up your business, your catalogues, your order forms, and free postage on top of that. This time also we have the wonderful option 2, which is still $315 worth of product, but you can also choose the amazing carry, craft and carry tote, which I've got mine here and it's wonderful. I did a video on it when it came, an unboxing video. It fits so much into it, it's amazing. I'm actually using it as a work bag as well, just as a bit of advertising. So if you throw the bag in, it's normally $87. You throw it in, you only pay $210. So you get the $315 worth of product plus the bag for $210, which is amazing. And then of course you get, as while you remain an active demonstrator, you get 20% discount ongoing. So that's amazing. As I say, that was why I joined in the first place. And you know, you go as far as you want to go with it. If you just go for 3 months and then let it drop, then that's fine as well. There's no payback or recrimination or anything like that. It's just, you know, for as long as you're wanting to meet your minimum sales amounts and enjoy that discount. So anyway, that's my spiel. As I say, I have a lovely team already, a couple of lovely ladies, and I'd love to see anyone out there who is thinking about joining Stampin' Up. Just totally happy for you to join my happy little group as well. Anyway, so that's the spiel. That's there's a lot of great stuff in Celebration. If you want a copy of the catalogues, also just touch base, and I will send them to you free of charge as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked my cards today. That's it. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week. Okay, thanks, guys.